So the next episode that is in the Star Trek The Next Generation, I don't know why I said it that way, is called Haven. So they are going to Haven, I guess. I'm not sure. But it's Counselor Troi's mom, Lwaxana Troi. She beams up a treasure chest. They get a treasure chest, and the treasure chest has like a face on it. And I think the face is even played by Armin Shimmerman. I might be mistaken about that because I didn't look it up because this is all from memory. But it's played by somebody anyway, and it talks. And it says, guess what? Everybody is happy marriage, wedding. And Troi sees this treasure chest and she's like, ooh. She's like, oh no! And Riker is like, who's getting married? And she's like, I am sad. And Captain Picard has a little private conversation about how arranged marriages are olden times things, and he doesn't really understand why the Betazoids still do it, but he's bound by the Prime Directive to not butt in, basically. Anyway, so they go and they pick up Lwaxana Troi, who is awesome. She is really flamboyant and sarcastic and just really hilarious, and she comes on board and she's like, oh no, where are my legs? Oh, it's because I beamed on board and I was sitting down and I still have legs. Ha 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 ha. She's so funny. I'm not doing her justice, but one of my favorite characters reminds me of my mom. Hi, Mom. Anyway, so also the guy that Counselor Troi is supposed to marry also comes on board, and he is human, and he has brought with him a flower that changes color based on your mood, which is useful, I guess, if you're human and not a Betazoid living on Beta Z. So he's but he's surprised because of reasons that that they don't know yet. But his parents also come on board, and even though the two families are really they get along so well that they arrange the marriage of their son and daughter together, they actually don't like each other and kind of want to fight with each other all the time. So Counselor Troi goes to talk to her new fiancé because, she's going to marry the guy. And she finds that he's actually kind of a nice guy. And they go to the holodeck together. And she wears, she's like, oh, what did she... No, I think do they go to dinner first? I feel like they go to dinner first. Yes. So they're at dinner. And Mr. Holm, who's this really tall, Addams Family type guy, he is Lwaxana Troi's servant, follows him around all the time, does not speak. And I think there's a bit at the beginning where Captain Picard is trying to help Lwaxana Troi with her suitcase, and he's having a lot of trouble, but Mr. Holm can just pick it up like that because he's super strong. Anyway, Mr. Holm is hitting this gong every few seconds to annoy everyone. And Lwaxana Troi says it's a Betazoid way of giving thanks for our meal. And the mother-in-law person is oh, how annoying. And they're just arguing with each other. And Data is super into it because he likes to observe humanity and people arguing with each other. Nothing says humanity than arguing. So Counselor Troi gets all mad. She's wearing a pretty outfit, and a pretty ponytail. And so when she gets mad, her ponytail goes, and she knocks over the gong and she says, "Stop bickering, all of you." And then she leaves. And I think that's when she meets up with her fiancé on the holodeck. And it's a very pretty holodeck. And they kiss because they actually do kind of like each other. And later on, and she asked him, like, "Why wasn't I what you expected?" And he was like, "Well, oh, no reason. Just because I didn't expect you doesn't mean I don't like you. You're great." But later on, he shows her his drawings back at his quarters or somewhere else. I don't remember. But he has a notebook, a sketchbook, and it's full of drawings of this blonde chick. And she's like, "You thought that I was this blonde lady. You didn't think that I was like, that's why you were so surprised with the rose when you came and first saw me. You were so surprised that I was not blonde," because Counselor Troi's not blonde, in case you've never seen the show ever. So she's like very surprised. Anyway, they're having nothing. Oh, his Betazoid weddings, they're naked, so there's a little bit of a like jokes about nakedness. Also, Riker's super jealous, but they're just friends now. I don't know what his problem is. Just because he used to date Counselor Troi. Stop being so possessive, am I right? Anyway, so then they go to like a planet that is really scared. They're like, distress call, and they're like, what is wrong? And there's like, and their distress call was because there is a super slow moving ship coming toward them. Like, because the super slow moving ship is like a plague ship from another place where they had a plague and people died. And now the super slow moving ship is coming toward them. And if they land on their planet, they'll all get the plague and die. And they're like, okay, well, how do we stop them from, going to the planet? Or I don't know what their problem is. Oh, and Counselor Troi's friend, fiance, happens to be a doctor. So he is good at doctoring. Maybe he can help. But they can't go over to the ship, the super slow moving ship, because they can't go to the ship because of the plague. Right. So they call them on the telephone, and on the screen is that woman from the fiance's drawings. And they're like, what? She's a real lady, and she's not just his imagination, and she's on this super slow moving ship. And he talks to Counselor Troi's mom, like randomly. The fiance does, and is like, what's the deal? Why is there like this woman on the ship and stuff? And she's like, oh, because consciousness is something. I forget what. She says something very wise. I would watch the episode if I were you and find out what she says, because I don't remember. But whatever she says makes him go, I want to go over there and visit my good friend who is sick with the plague. So he goes, like, by himself, beams over to the ship, and the woman is there, and she has pictures of Counselor Troi's fiance from, like, when he was a kid to, like, now, because she also has been thinking about him and drawing him just the same as he has been thinking about her and drawing her, because, like, some consciousnesses are just connected, even though they're not telepathic or anything. They're just, consciousness can connect if they're like soulmates, which they totally are. So they go, so he's like, sorry, I can't leave the ship now because I have been exposed to the plague and I didn't want to marry you anyway, by the way. And so Counselor Troy's like, that's cool. I didn't really want to marry you. Anyway, they're talking, but through on voice chat, video chat on the view screen because plague, right? Kind of the same thing that's happening, with the coronavirus and COVID or whatever it's called. Anyway, so he's like, everyone's kind of happy about this because Counselor Troi doesn't have to get married. Counselor Troi's fiancé doesn't have to marry her, and his parents don't have to get naked at the wedding, and they're gonna not go to the planet and spread the plague everywhere. And since his name is Wyatt, that's his name, since Wyatt is a doctor, that's Counselor Troi's fiancé, who I guess is not Counselor Troi's fiancé anymore because he broke off the engagement. He goes to the ship and stays there, and he's going to cure the plague, presumably, or they all die. We don't know. We never hear from them ever again after this episode. So that is